Definition of volume: it is space occupied by the object. So how much space the object will occupy, that is refers to volume. The unit of volume is centimeter cube. It can be meter cube. Or it can be centimeter cube. The meter cube or centimeter cube can be the unit. The SI is meter cube, the System International, but centimeter cube or millimeter cube can also be used. And it is a scalar quantity. Scalar means it does not have direction. You don't use the direction to express the volume. Like example, if I say volume of the container is 30 centimeter cube or 50 centimeter cube, I will not use a specific direction. But how we can find the volume for regular and irregular object? Finding volume for regular objects mean which have definite shape, or objects which have definite shape are known as regular objects. So how we can find, there are different types of objects. You may have, example, a cube. So if you have a cube and you want to cube or cuboid, and you want to find the volume of cube or cuboid, so the formula to find the volume is its length, its width, and its height. So what you will do, you will multiply all the three dimensions, length with width with height, you will get the volume for a cube. Same thing, you may have a sphere. If a regular object is a sphere and you want to find the volume of the sphere, the formula to find the volume of the sphere, it's pi r square h. So if you need volume of the sphere, the formula, it's 4 by 3 pi r cube for a sphere. 4 divided by 3 pi, then this r cube. And what is r? R is the radius of the object. And the third one, if you have to memorize these formulas. If you have a cylinder,
Sir,
yes,
sphere for by what?
4 multiplied by pi multiplied by r cube divided by 3. Pi, it's a fixed value, it's 3.14. Pi is having a fixed value which is 3.14. So 4 multiplied by pi, this is a pi multiplied by r cube divided by 3. The whole numerator divided by 3. And if you have a cylinder, so you have a cylinder and you want to find the volume of a cylinder, then the formula is, for cylinder, it's pi r square multiplied by h. So these are the three formulas which you have to learn to find the volume of regular objects. Number one, it's a cube or a cuboid. You will multiply its length into width into height. all the three dimensions, when you multiply, you will get the volume of the cube. If it's a sphere, then I will rewrite this for a sphere. It's 4 by 3. So volume of sphere is equals to 4 pi r cube divided by 3. And if it's a cylinder, it is pi r square h, where r is the radius of the cylinder and h is the height. But which instrument I need to measure the volume of, which apparatus or instrument is required to measure the volume of a cube? What I need to measure the volume? Because I have to measure length, width, and height. So I need a ruler or a scale. So I need a ruler to measure the, or the scale to measure the length, width, and height. Which apparatus I need or required to measure the volume of a sphere?
Screw gauge.
Yeah, because using a screw gauge, first I will find the diameter, micrometer screw gauge. So using a micrometer screw gauge, first I will find the diameter, and from the diameter I will find its radius. How I can find the radius? As we know, radius is half of the diameter, so the radius will be equal to diameter divided by 2. Which apparatus or instrument I need for cylinder?
A rope.
What? To find the volume, like if I want to measure the radius or diameter and I want to measure the height, the string will give us the circumference. The string will give us the circumference. I want to measure the diameter and the height. So the apparatus which we need is a micrometer. Why micrometer? To measure the diameter, and a ruler to measure the height. Is it clear? These are the apparatus which you need or required to measure the volume of regular object. If it's a cube, then it's length into width into height, so we just need a ruler. If it's a sphere, then you have to measure a diameter, so you'll place between the jaws of a micrometer, calculate a diameter, and from diameter you can find its radius. And if it's a cylinder, then using a micrometer you'll find its diameter, and using a ruler you can find its height, and that will give you the final height and diameter. Using a diameter you will get the radius, and using radius and height you will find the total volume. How to find volume of irregular object? If you want to measure the volume of irregular objects, objects which are not having a definite shape, for this we use a measuring cylinder. A measuring cylinder, a cylindrical tube, so this measuring cylinder having a calibration or the marking on this, and the scale of the measuring cylinder is always in centimeter cube. Keep that in mind. The scale, like the level numbers are written, so you will always get in centimeter cube. So how you'll measure the volume of irregular object? Example, you have a stone and you want to measure the volume of this stone. So there's no formula to get the volume of irregular object. So you will use a displacement method. In this displacement method, first we will fill the measuring cylinder with small amount of liquid. That volume is called V1. Then you immerse the object inside this measuring cylinder. Then you immerse the object inside the measuring cylinder. So what happened? This object will take some volume. So the level of the water or the liquid will rise. The new volume is V2. So what will be the volume? How I can get the volume of this object? So if I subtract the final volume with the initial volume, I will get the volume of the object. So we first fill the measuring cylinder with liquid. We record the volume. And whenever we are reading the scale, we should always look perpendicular or avoid a parallax error. To avoid a parallax error. So we should always look 90° or perpendicular. And when we are reading a level, in case of water, like if this was a measuring cylinder, in case of water, we always read the lower meniscus. Like there are two levels. One is up, another one is down. The up one is called upper meniscus, and the down one is called lower meniscus. So for water, we always read the lower meniscus. So in this experiment, we should always read the lower meniscus and we should look perpendicular to avoid a parallax error. Why there is a meniscus? Why you observe this? Because the water molecules attracted towards the wall of the container, there's attraction between the glass and the water molecule, and this attraction is common. You can observe this attraction. Like if you drink if you have a glass and you fill that glass with water and you drink all the water, still you will find some of the water remain inside the glass. Why some of the water remain inside the glass, or some droplets of water are there inside the glass? It's due to attraction between the water molecules and the glass molecules. So what happened when you have a measuring cylinder, because it's a small measuring cylinder, so attraction is more visible. That's why this attraction caused a meniscus. It caused most of the water molecules shifted towards the wall. That's why one side level is up and the other side level is down. So for water, we always read the lower meniscus. Remember this thing. Read the lower meniscus, and we should always look perpendicular to avoid a parallax error. So if a regular object is there, we will use a formula. If irregular object is there, we will use a measuring cylinder. Is it clear? Is it clear about how we will use a measuring cylinder to get the volume of the irregular object? If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Okay, take the screenshot. So I will move on to next part. Then for this one, important thing is a unit conversion. Like example, you have a measuring cylinder. And this was filled with liquid. The level was 20 centimeter cube. You add an object. The level changes to 50 centimeter cube when you add the object. What is the volume of this object? Can you identify the volume of object? Originally it was 20. Then you add an object, it rises to 50. What is the volume of object?
30 centimeter.
30 centimeter cube. Yeah, that's right. The difference is, so which is equal to 30 centimeter cube. But the question is, convert this centimeter cube into meter cube. So how the unit conversion occur? Example, if you're converting, just remember this, because you have the form, if you're converting centimeter if you're converting centimeter cube into meter cube, what you will do, you will divide by 100, because look, when you convert centimeter into meter, you divide by 100, but you are converting centimeter cube to meter cube, so you should divide it by 100 cube. Like if I say I want to convert centimeter into meters, so what I will do, I will divide by 100. But if I want to convert centimeter cube into meter cube, so I should divide it by 100 cube. So if I want to convert this 30 centimeter cube into meter cube, so what I will do, I will divide it by 100 cube. 100 cube is actually 1 million. So I'll divide by 1 million. So 30 divided by 1 million. What's the answer for 30 divided by 1 million? It should be in power exponent. 30 divided by
10 power negative 5.
So 3 into 10 power negative 5 meter cube. Okay. So this conversion is very important, because sometime you will learn a topic about the density. There, the unit conversion is very important. So you have to, you should be able to convert centimeter cube into meter cube or meter cube into centimeter cube. If this was in meter and you want to convert into centimeter, so you tend to multiply by 100. Same thing, it is meter cube. You want to convert into centimeter cube. So what you will do, you will multiply by 100 cube. So the topic density, because density is related to this volume, that formulas of the volume. How we define a density? Density, it is defined as mass present in unit volume. So how much mass is there in a unit volume or a specific volume? What we call that as a density. And to find the density, the formula for a density is equals to mass by volume. So if I say you have two different objects, they have different masses. This is 3 kilogram. This one is 6 kilogram. The volume of this object is 2 meter cube. Volume of this object is 10 meter cube. Which object is having higher density? So density means mass present in a specific volume, unit volume. So means which of them is having a greater volume, greater mass in a unit volume or 1 meter cube volume. So when I find the density, so density is mass over volume. So 3 divided by 2. What is the density? It will be 1.5 kilogram per meter cube. But when I find the density of this, it is 6 divided by 10. So 6 divided by 10, which is equals to 0.6 kilogram per meter cube. So what these values are showing, 1.5 kilogram per meter cube and 0.6 kilogram per meter cube, it shows if you have a 1 meter cube volume, how much mass is present? 1.6. If you have 1 meter cube volume, how much mass is present? 0.6. So which object is denser, or which object having more particles or more matter in a unit space? Object A is having a greater mass or greater number of the particle in a unit space. So density is simply the mass which is present in a unit volume. The SI unit of the density SI unit of mass is kilogram and SI unit of volume is meter cube. So it is kilogram per meter cube. And other unit, it can be gram per centimeter cube. It can be kilogram per centimeter cube, or it can be gram per meter cube. But the SI standard, because standard unit of mass is kilogram and standard unit of volume is meter cube, so it should be kilogram per meter cube. So the triangle which you will learn for this density, so density is equal, so density is equals to mass present in a unit volume. So if I need the mass of an object, if I need mass, it will be, if I need density, it is mass divided by volume. If I need mass of an object, it will be density multiplied by volume. And if I need volume of an object, it will be mass divided by density. So how much matter is present in a specific volume, we call that as a density, and it is a scalar quantity. So when we say it's a scalar quantity, means it does not have any direction. For a density, you don't specify or use a direction. Is it clear? How much matter or how many particles are present in a unit space or a unit volume is known as density. Take the screenshot. I will explain the other part of this. So if you are comparing a density, relation between density and mass, if volume is constant, so if the volume is constant, what is the relation between density and mass? So how you can find? You have the formula. Density is mass divided by volume. If volume is constant, volume is not changing. Whenever two quantities are in numerator, both sides of equal to, it means they are directly proportional. So when we say they are directly proportional, so the term directly proportional means if you increase one quantity, the other quantity will also increase. Like if I increase the mass or if I increase the density, the mass will increase. Same thing, if I decrease the mass, the density will also decrease. So if you are increasing one quantity, the other is also increasing. If you decrease one quantity, the other is decreasing. We call that relation as a directly proportional relation. So relation between density and mass, if volume is kept constant, so they are directly proportional. So if I give an example, you have two objects of same size. Without calculation, can you identify which is having high density? 3 kilogram, 10 kilogram. Two objects of same size.
10 kilogram.
So if they both have the same size, or size of object A and object B is same. So which is denser, which contain more particle in a unit space? Object B contain more particle in a unit space. So object B is denser. So if two objects have the same volume, the one which is having a greater mass will have the higher density. So one is 3 kilogram, another one is 10 kilogram. 10 kilogram is more denser, or it is having high density. This one is having low density. So density is directly proportional to mass of an object if the volume is kept constant, if the volume is same for both. So I mentioned in the beginning, both are same size. So the one which is having greater mass will have higher density. Same thing. Take a screenshot. I'll move on. So what is the relation between density and volume? If mass is constant, so you have the formula density is equals to mass divided by volume. If the mass is not changing, mass is constant, one quantity is in a numerator, another one is in a denominator, whenever, and both are on opposite side of equal to, this kind of relation is called inversely proportional relation. Inversely proportional means if I increase one quantity, the other will decrease. So if I increase the volume, the density will decrease, and vice versa. If I decrease the volume, the density will increase. So if you have two objects of same mass but different volumes, can you identify which object is having a higher density, A or B? Which is having higher density or greater density, A or B?
A.
A is having a higher density because it is having a smaller volume. B is having a greater volume, so it is having a lower density. So what it shows? It shows a relation between the volume and density. Density is inversely proportional to volume if the mass is constant. Condition is mass should be constant, like both objects should have the same mass. But if both have different masses and different volume, then you have to use the formula mass by volume to find the density. So that case you have to calculate, otherwise without calculation you can identify from their volumes that which is more or higher density and which one is lower density. So object A is having a higher density and object B is having a lower density. Then using density, what we can do, what is the advantage of studying density, why you are studying this quantity? So using density, you can identify number one, type of object. Number two, whether it will float or sink. How you can, first thing, how you can identify the type of object? If objects are made up of same material, different shape of object, so if they are made up of same material, they will have same densities. Example of this, example, there's a ring and there's a cube. You want to identify whether they are made up of same material. So example, the mass of this cube is 30 grams and its volume is equals to 15 centimeter cube. So what is the density? 30 divided by 15. So 30 divided by 15, so density will be equal to 2 gram per centimeter cube. Same thing, this ring is only 5 gram. And the volume, the space this ring occupies, it's example 2.5 centimeter cube. So when I find the density 5 divided by 2.5, what I will get? I will get as 2 gram per centimeter cube. So the two objects, they have different size, they have different masses, they have different volumes, they have different shapes as well. But if they are made up of the same material, they should have the same density. This is a way how you can check or identify. Like example, if you have a jewelry or ornament and you want to identify whether it is made up of a pure gold, so what you can do, you can measure its mass and you can measure its volume, and mass divided by volume, what you will get? Mass divided by volume, you will get its density. And then from its density, what you will do? You will compare with the standard density of, like there's a table for standard density. So using, like, these are some standard densities. For aluminum, it's about 2.7. Iron is about 7.86. Brass, which is a mixture alloy, 8.5. Wood is 0.5. Slate is there, 2.8. Glass, 2.5. And lead is there, about 11.3. So using these densities, you can compare and you can identify whether it is made up of pure substance or whether it's made up of a gold or not. So that's the advantage of studying a density, that using density you can identify what kind of object is this or what material this object is made up of, because standard densities are there for substances and you can compare the density of the sample with the standard density and identify the type of the material. This is one thing. The second thing, you can identify whether the object will float or sink. How you can identify? If object density is less than or equal to the fluid density. Fluid means both liquids and gases are refers to fluid. The term fluid means something which can flow. So if object density is less than or equal to fluid density, it will float. But if object density is more than the fluid density, it will sink. So what happened, like example, you have a container. A container is filled with water. Ahmed, I will answer your question. Just a minute, I'll explain this part and I'll answer your question. Example, you have a container. This container is filled with water. The density of a water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. Every centimeter cube, it contains 1 gram of matter. This is a standard density, but density also changes with temperature, because if you heat something, it expands, so volume increase, so density will decrease. Now you have three different objects, A, B, and C. So you have three different objects, A, B, and C. What happened? For A, the density is 1.2 gram per centimeter cube. For B, it is exactly 1 gram per centimeter cube. For C, it is 0.8 gram per centimeter cube. If I say A, B, first A, it will float or sink? If I add this A into a container, it will
Sink.
It will sink. What about B? It's 1
Float.
gram per, it will float. And what about C? That will also float. But what difference you will find between B and C? When you place A will be underwater because its density is higher. B, because the density is equal to the density, so most part is under the water, a small part is above the water. But what about C? For C, most part is outside the water and a small part is under water because the density is lower than. Both are floating objects, but if density is equal, most part is under the liquid and small part is above the liquid. If density is lower than the density of the liquid, then most part is outside the liquid and small part is inside the liquid. So you can identify the object and float and sink using the concept of density. But the question is that if you check the density of iron, just now I showed the table. If you check the density of iron is 7.8. And ships are mainly made up of steel, like an alloy of iron which contains some proportion of the carbon. So how the ships can float at the surface or on the surface of the water? So basically how this is done, because ship is itself is one object. So for ship, what they do, they make a ship hollow. Means when you make something hollow, means it will take more volume. So when you make something hollow, it will take more volume. As the volume increase, what will happen to the density of the ship? The density or overall density of the ship will decrease so that the ship can float. It's a hollow material. Hollow materials have more volume as compared to a solid materials. Is it clear? And when they make it hollow, it will reduce the mass and it will take up more volume. So when the volume increase, the density will decrease so that the ship can float on the surface of water. But example, if there is a hole in the base of the or at the base of the ship, then it will start to sink. Why it will start to sink? Because if there is a hole, the water will enter, and as the water will enter, the mass of the ship start to increase. As the mass increase, the density of ship also start to increase and the ship will sink. Is it clear? The concept of a density, floating and sinking?
Yes.
You can take a screenshot. So it also depends not about the type of a material, it also depends on the shape of an object. Like example, if you have a gold foil, gold is having a high density, but if you hammer gold too much, then its volume will increase. So as the volume will increase, the density will decrease. Overall substance shape also, or you make a cup made up of a gold. If a cup is made up of a gold, it will have different density. So tomorrow we'll discuss the questions related to density. Today's any question related to today's topic? Tomorrow numericals. Today we did not solve any numerical. Tomorrow we'll do questions specifically from mass, weight, and density.